This is probably the simplest concept we've ever had for a movie we've talked about, and yet I'm sure we're still going to blather on for like 2 hours straight about it. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And I'm in the pumpkin shirt, so it's Thorgiween time! Yeah, nothing but horror movies all month long, as opposed to what we normally do where we talk about horror movies all month long. But we're going to talk about more of them all month long. Today we're talking about An American Werewolf in London, which is a classic film. This is considered to be one of the best horror comedies of all time, one of the best werewolf movies of all time, one of the best 80s movies of all time, one of the best, did I say horror comedies?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the only three things it's known for. But also some of the best practical effects of all time, we have to say that. But this film, it is absolutely a classic for a reason. I've watched it multiple times. I do really enjoy it. I will say, I think if it wasn't for one specific thing in here, it would not be considered as good as it is. Mm-hmm. I still really enjoy it though. But watching it this time, this is like the third, fourth time I've seen it, I started to see a few problems I had never seen before in the movie. So we're going to discuss it, see what we think about it. This movie, giving you the basic premise of it, is about two American college kids who are backpacking their way across Europe. And they're not, you can tell they're not like rich kids. They're not doing like, we're going to the finest hotels across all of Europe. No. They're doing we're staying in hostels. We just have the stuff in our backpack. We are hiking across the land. We're getting hitchhiking wherever we can. Yeah, very relatable kids. And that is something that the moment you see these two guys, David and Jack, the moment that you see them, they are so relatable. They have an amazing way of introducing them. This movie is made by not John Lasseter. That's the Disney guy.
The Pixar guy. Yeah.
John Landis. That's it. And that's the guy, he made like Blues Brothers. Like he is known for making a ton of comedies. He's also known for doing something horrible on the Twilight Zone movie, but we will talk about that when we get to it. I'm only bringing it up because I know that it's one of those things that anytime you discuss them, there's going to be people who are like, yeah, but what about that thing that we are aware of it. We talk about horror movies. We will eventually get to that one day because you can't avoid that. But he is a guy who knows how to write characters who you can instantly relate with. And you get that from these two guys. The first time that we see them, they are being pulled up in a truck being driven by a sheep farmer. A shepherd. And they're in the back of the truck with the sheep, which, by the way, is a werewolf movie, and our two protagonists hanging out with sheep the first time you see them. They knew what they were doing with that shot. Excellent job there. Symbolism achieved. But also, it lets you know, yeah, these are down on their luck average guys. And then you see them just walking down the street, down to a pub, and they're just having like the most normal conversation in the world, and you instantly get the chemistry from these guys. It makes me wonder if these two actors just hung out beforehand, before they actually started filming this, to establish some rapport with each other, because they really are good with interacting with each other. It almost feels like this scene is improv because it feels so natural. But then they end up getting to this pub, what was the name of the pub?
The Slaughtered Lamb.
That was it, yeah.
Another lamb. So much symbolism and metaphors.
Well, I mean, they're not even being subtle with it on this one. Not. Yeah, like the sign out front is a wolf's head on a pike. And like, it's one of those things that you look at and go, who the hell would have that? But then the actors themselves even go, who the hell would have that? So it's like, okay, it's supposed to be weird even within the context of this world. And they go in there. And it's one of those scenes where the second these guys walk in, everybody shuts up, just turns and looks at them. It's that classic scene, but there is this special ominous feeling to it of there's something not natural here. And that could just be because we know this is a film about werewolves. So when you know that there's something supernatural in the concept of your movie, you're already reading some stuff into it. But they get kicked out of the pub and they're told, stay on the roads,
stay off the moors.
Stay off the moors. That's what it was.
Stick to the road. Stay off the moors.
That's what it was. And the moment they leave, everybody in the pub is just like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. Oh, those poor kids. Oh, I'm already feeling bad about this decision. And these two dumbass American kids immediately walk off the road. And I will get into this in a little bit, but they walk up the road immediately. They get attacked by a werewolf. Jack ends up being killed. And David is injured. And then David wakes up in a hospital, sorry.
In London.
In London, yes. He's been taken all the way back to London. He is woken up in a hospital. He's being cared for by this nurse named Alex. And Alex, the moment that she interacts with him, like, she makes sure to point out that he's American. And as the film goes on, you realize she kind of has a thing for Americans. Like, that's just kind of her thing. You talk about how David and Jack had this really good rapport with each other. David and Alex have amazing chemistry. Like, you instantly feel like, no, these two are smitten with each other. Like, they are just ready to be all hands-on with each other. But Alex, as he is there in the hospital, Alex is being very flirty with him. She is, like, feeding him when he refuses to eat the food. Like, she's definitely got a little bit of a, like, I became a nurse because I enjoy taking care of damaged people kind of person.
I can fix them.
Yeah,
Literally.
That's very much her deal. But they do actually have, like, a really good relationship with each other. Like, you get that. Like, even just in the moment you see them hanging out in London, you absolutely buy, like, these two actually care about each other. However, we all know where this is going. David has been turned into a werewolf. And as the film goes on, there's not really a lot else to say. Because as the film goes on, there's one thing that is definitely spoilery that I will bring up in a moment here. It's not big spoilers, but it's a little bit spoilery. But the basic premise after this is that he has been turned into a werewolf. He wakes up. The night comes, turns into a werewolf, has one evening out as a werewolf. And that's kind of the film. That's it. Like, this is a really basic-ass werewolf movie.
I mean, the whole premise of werewolves is pretty basic. It's like, oh, you turn into a giant wolf monster on a full moon.
That's true, but there's no, like, I have to go on this quest to find this person who knows all about this curse and then find the thing that will cure me of it. No, it's really just, he has one night as a werewolf. It's bad. And then we see what happens after that. That's kind of it.
Yeah, I like how down-to-earth this movie is.
Down-to-earth is a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at not saying one thing and then immediately going off on 5-minute tangents. Like,
and no. I'm trying to get better at talking more and not letting you do all the talking.
Editing our first 4 videos, I was like, I will not shut the fuck up. So yes, please continue.
But yes, I like the setting and everything. Like, you can tell the difference between the country and London. Like, out in the countryside, like, people are, like, way more superstitious. They're more inclined to believe that werewolves are a thing. Whereas in London, you know, you got doctors and, like, people. Yeah,
it is. There's definitely, like, a scientific approach being taken in London.
Like, so, like, they are not going to believe that David has become a werewolf. They're gonna, like, try and figure out everything else. And, you know, like they say, once all the possible results are denied, the only thing that can be true is the impossible.
Yeah.
So,
and you think about the title of this film, An American Werewolf in London, and it's not just supposed to imply, okay, it's some guy in a country he's not from where this thing is happening to him. It's not just the An American in part, it's also the in London part, because it's a modern day metropolitan city where this is happening, and they do take advantage of that in there. And yeah, you think about a lot of other werewolf films, they are set, like, way out in the middle of nowhere.
Sometimes even in, like, a fantasy world.
You think about the original werewolf film from back in the 1930s. Or it might have been the 1940s. I can't quite remember. But you think about the original werewolf film, you watch that and it feels like it's set in the 1800s. But it's not. It's just set in a really old-timey European town. It's supposed to still be modern day for them. And don't get me wrong, I know that 1930s, 1940s was still very old compared to now, but you watch that film and even then it feels like it was set like 60, 70 years before this movie was made. It's like, no, it's just set in really old town. Whereas in this one, it's like, nope, you are in modern day London. They take advantage of that, and I really appreciate that. I think that's very cool. So here's the thing where things get a little bit interesting in this movie, and where they do something that I think is very different. It's that after Jack dies, you need someone who's going to explain, okay, you're a werewolf, and also I mentioned, yeah, he just has like one night as a werewolf, and that's kind of it. Most other werewolf films, you get like multiple days of this, you got like a big lead up to it and everything, and that's because they have to figure out what's happening to them. Jack appears to David when he's in the hospital as a ghost, essentially. I was about to say as a zombie because you see like the scratches from the wolf on his face, and the makeup effects in this are amazing. I can't remember who the makeup artist was, but he's one of the most famous makeup artists ever. In fact, he was like the first person to ever win an Academy Award for makeup, and it was for this film, and they deserved it. But he shows up, and his face is just shredded apart with the claw slashes of the werewolf.
And like his neck is literally like torn open.
Yeah, it is. Ooh.
Very gruesome.
And I was watching an interview with the actor who played Jack, Griffin Dunn. And he said, yeah, everybody else was having a good time with it. I was depressed from all this because I just had to stare at myself in the mirror every day as I was and see my own face like very accurately and realistically shred apart. Yeah, you don't think about what that would do to someone psychologically. And man, oh, poor guy. I did not think about that, but yeah, that's gotta mess with you.
Yeah, and as the movie goes on, like he keeps decaying. So like there's like he keeps rotting and more and everything.
Yeah, and the explanation that they give is that because he was killed by a werewolf, he is now linked to this werewolf's curse. And as long as the curse lives on in David, he can't rest. He is doomed to walk the earth as a ghost.
Anyone that the werewolf kills is doomed to walk the earth and can't pass over. So
and Jack just flat out tells David, "You have to kill yourself. You have to die.
You have to unalive yourself."
It's weird that's become the running gag on this channel. But he flat out tells him, you have to kill yourself in order for me to rest.
And not just for Jack, but to make sure no one else dies.
Yeah, exactly. He tells him, listen, if you are going to go out there as a werewolf, you're going to kill other people. Other people are going to join me as ghosts. And I love how much he still acts like Jack. Because one of my favorite lines is, have you ever tried talking to a ghost? It's not fun. Like, I love that moment because he's still holding on to his humanity. He's still Jack. And he hates that he's just like wandering around like aimlessly with all these spirits. As time goes on, we see multiple more times they keep degrading and deteriorating each time. And spoiler alert, not big spoiler, we'll get to the big spoilers at the end. But yeah, I mentioned David does go out there and he does end up killing some people, and you see them joining Jack as well. But they also have to bring up the fact that every time that he goes out there, it's very scary for them because it's not just he's going to kill more people and that's going to add more ghosts. No, if he doesn't kill someone, he just injures someone, scratches or bites them, that creates another werewolf, then the curse keeps going through them and they still can't rest. And so you understand why Jack would be like, hey, best buddy, you have to die. You get it. So that's one of the few things in here that actually makes it interesting, but it's also one of the reasons why this script really speeds things up because there's no like quest to find out the answer to what's going on. Someone immediately shows up and just tells you the plot and tells you the end goal, tells you what has to happen. And after that, this is a very simple film, but it doesn't feel that simple. And I think it is largely because it is very character driven. John Landis, one thing that he knows how to do very well is create characters. And this is something that watching this time around, I really appreciate. There's so many tiny characters in here who feel fully fleshed out. Like David, Alex, Jack, they're all great. But there are so many moments in here. Like there's a doctor in here who is also great. And we watch him the doctor is constantly telling him, no, we got the report from the police. We know that was a crazy person who attacked you. It was not a wolf. There was no sign of a wolf. We have many eyewitnesses. It was not a wolf. But David is so certain that it was. And we see this doctor slowly start to go like, well, maybe hold on. And he actually starts investigating, which, tip to all the writers out there, if you ever want to make a character in your script immediately likable, make them the one person that believes the person that nobody else will believe. That is the easiest way to make a character instantly likable. But he's great. However, there's a moment in there in which he is talking to his secretary, and then these two detectives come in here to investigate what happened to David, and he offers them tea, and the older detective just goes, no tea, thank you. And then the younger one goes, oh, I'd actually love a spot of tea. And then the older detective stares at him and goes, but maybe not now. That's like all we get from these guys, and you immediately get, they have, man, my voice cracked there for a second, and you immediately get, these are two characters who, they have a rapport, they have a relationship outside of this, you instantly know what it's like, you can feel the moment they walk out of those doors, they aren't just characters who cease to exist. No. They've got their own thing going on. Like, it's great. It's just like one line, and it's perfect.
And also, like, the characters that don't live, also, you get like a sample of their life before, like, David attacks them. And then when they come back with Jack, you get even more of their personality, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, the people who Jack attacks, not Jack attacks, David attacks, attacks as a werewolf, and then we see their ghost later on. They're such throwaway characters, and yet they still, like, the little few lines they get have so much personality in there. It's great. Like, there's this young, they're an engaged couple, and you see them beforehand, they're so, like, nice and courteous and flirty with each other, and then you see them pop up as ghosts, and it's like, oh, hello! They're still so pleasant, and there's a scene where they're talking about ways that David can kill himself, and they're still just like, oh, what about a gun? Could you possibly get a gun? Like, they're just so upbeat and positive about. But there's another guy who David kills, and this guy is like the most stereotypical British guy. Like, right before he's attacked, he says, I assure you, this is not the least bit funny. Just so stuck up about. And that chase sequence, I'll mention a few of my problems with this film in a moment. But that chase sequence is great of him in the London tunnels. I think that's awesome. Also, just found out that actor played Biff Pertuna, I think that's how it's pronounced, in the old Star Wars films, in the original trilogy. At Jabba's palace, he was the pale guy with the big worm thing going like around his shoulders. That was him.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I don't know his full name. I've heard his name several times, but I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. But like, if you think about Jabba's palace and you go, yeah, the worm guy with like the big tail going around his head, like, oh, you know who that is. Yeah, that was him. That's just a fun fact. Yeah, the characters in here are so incredibly good. All the people at that pub that we mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
You just walk in there and you immediately get a sense of every single person in that pub. I've mentioned this before. This movie does not need a sequel. It does not need a remake. But, gun to my head, someone said, you have to make some kind of an extension. You have to make some kind of a new film set within this universe. My answer would be make a prequel all about that pub. Like, you got characters in there that are interesting enough just from the little bit that we've gotten. They clearly have some kind of a history with the werewolves. If you had to.
Yeah, like the origin of the werewolf or something like that. And how the town came to be.
Yeah, if you had to do something, there is enough just in like the 5 minutes that we get of the people in that pub to go, yeah, you could give this whole say in a movie. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, this filmmaker absolutely knows how to take the littlest characters and make them seem interesting. Also, we've brought up several times already, but the comedy in here, really damn good. Really damn good. This is a hilarious film to the point where we were talking about Return of the Living Dead and how the split on comedy and horror on that one was like 20-80. This one's like 80-20. Like, it's the exact opposite, but it's like, no, it still counts.
It works.
Yeah, it works very well. And I think one of the reasons why it still counts as a horror is because the moments that are horrifying are genuinely horrifying, which we should probably go ahead and talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned before, I think that if this movie did not have one particular scene, it would not be nearly as famous as it is. But that one particular scene is really good. And that is the night that we see David turn to the werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 40-year-old movie, and it still has some of the best practical effects we have ever seen. To this day, the transformation sequence in here is stunning.
It is like probably like the most iconic werewolf transformation scene.
It's the only one that could maybe top it is the original one where he's like slowly changing, but that's solely because it's the original and everyone knows it. This is the best. And it's one of those that I don't think people have parodied it nearly as much as like the original Wolfman transformation, but I think it's because it's so hard to parody this because it's like, dude, who the hell else is going to try and do this? Who's going to try and like top this? This is crazy. It is all like, it's insane how it begins because it just comes out of nowhere. Like just out of nowhere. It's like he just got a kidney stone all of a sudden. It's just like, oh my God, fuck. Yeah, he just immediately goes into transformation mode, starts stripping down. And then you see like each of his body parts slowly changing. And I've mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned it on this channel before, but one of my big fears, probably like my weirdest fear, the thing that like nobody would expect is I just have this big fear of the idea of your body turning into something and you can't control it. There's just something about that that terrifies me. And this film is an amazing example of that. Because like there's a moment in which his hand is stretching out and turning into a wolf foot. And you see his reaction of watching it happen. It's like, yeah, that's the terror that I'm talking about. When I say like, that's one of my big fears, that right there, like he is looking at his body turn into something that he can't comprehend.
And not only that, it is extremely painful.
Extremely painful, and he can't stop it. Mm-hmm. He is a passenger in his own body at that point. It is terrifying. And just thinking about, there's so many shots in there of like his face extending, and he had to stick his head into a thing with like bladders just slowly extending this. And there's a moment which they had to like cut out a part of the floor for his top half to come through so they could have the extended wolf body coming out below him. It is wild what they got away with in here, what they were able to do solely with practical effects. And it still looks better than like a lot of special effects, a lot of like modern day practical effects. It's incredible. And yeah, I will say it. If this movie did not have that scene in here, I think this would just be like a fun throwaway thing of like, yeah, remember that fun, like comedic werewolf film from back then? Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? This thing is what bumped it up to being a classic. I honestly believe like this one scene. Because I will admit, love the characters, love the humor, love that transformation scene. Watching it this time, like I said, I've watched it many times now. And I didn't really think about this beforehand, but there was something about this film that just never quite brought it up to like the A game in my mind. Like, oh, this is one of the best ever. And I could never quite grasp it. And watching it this time, it finally hit me. I do not think this film is shot all that well. Like, directing wise, in terms of like the actors, I think it's great. And there are really good shots in here. There are a handful of good shots. Like I said, that transformation scene, cinema. It's great. There are so many moments in this movie, though, where I just don't like the way things are framed. I just don't think that like the whole sequence is done all that well. And it's the personalities and the likability of the actors that are really pulling me through it. But there's just so many just shots, like when he wakes up in the hospital, he starts having these dream sequences of running through the woods. I do not think the way that it cuts to those dream sequences is all that good. It's just kind of like, it just feels like a different movie. It does not feel like we're in a dream sequence. It just feels like I'm watching a different film right now. But also, just the shots of running through the woods are really kind of bland and uninteresting to me. And I think about how this film came out in, I think, 1981 and was a big budget film by an experienced director. And I can't help but think a couple years before this, the first Evil Dead film came out, and that had no money and was by first-time director. And their going through the wood sequences look so much better than this. Like, yeah, like the first person point of views, I don't think look all that good when they're going through. But then there'll be other moments where it just cuts to the third person point of view of him running naked through the woods. I don't think those are shot all that well either. it felt like they just put the camera down and was like, all right, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. Like, there's nothing kind of interesting or dreamlike or kind of intriguing about those shots. It feels like they just planted the camera down. That's it.
Yeah, like there isn't even like that blur around the frame. Like, you know how like in dream sequence.
Yeah, like I was thinking, like, how would you make this feel like more like magical or something? It's like, I know that's like the go-to answer, but I feel like there are ways. I don't want to say like you had to do that. Like, I think there's ways they could have like just not done that. But like interesting camera angles or something in there, like make the camera angles not like they are in the rest of the film, or like, you know, shoot it with like an interesting zoom or something that like creates like this, it's not quite of this world kind of feel to it. Instead, it just feels like they just planted a camera down, like I said. And like there's a moment in which like during the dream sequence he attacks a deer, and it's like, it doesn't feel real at all at that moment. And I don't doesn't feel real like, oh, now it feels like a dream sequence. It's like, no, it feels like an actor just jumped onto a puppet. Like, that's all. Like, it doesn't feel right at all. And like, there's so many other sequences where he's getting attacked, where the wolf is attacking people. And it is just a puppet. Like, for as amazing as the transformation scene was, anytime the wolf actually attacks people, it is a puppet coming in from off screen. Nom. That's it. And for like a half a second shot, I'm like, God damn, man, that's the best you could do with that? Don't get me wrong, there are other good shots in there. Like, there's a big chaotic sequence at the end of this film. I think all that shot great. I think all that is shot very well. And turns out that John Landis actually started out as like a stunt man. So, which makes things that happen later in his career very ironic. Yeah, that explains why he could shoot that incredibly well. But there's just so many other sequences in here. And I mostly stuck to the dream sequences. There's a lot of other scenes in here where it's just like, that's the least interesting shot you could have gotten of that. It's just not that interesting to me. Yeah.
I kind of am wondering if that was like done on purpose. Like for like the dream sequences, it's like, hey, some random shit out of nowhere. Oh, it's a dream. How about that?
That I know the one that you're referring to. Yes, it works for that. There is a dream sequence in here that it's him back at home. And I'm not going to spoil what happens in there for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but there is something very jarring that happens in that dream sequence. And that is meant to feel mundane. That is meant to feel like it's just the average, it's just another Tuesday for him. Just a regular day, just fine. Everything is resolved now. Thank goodness all that awful stuff back in London didn't happen. That is meant to feel mundane. So that, I agree with you. That one works. Also, right after that, another little twist that they threw in there. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it before, but it's like one of the first, it's something that we're used to today in films. I believe it's the first time anyone's ever done that in a film. You'll realize it when you see the film. But also, you pointed this out to me before, that his reaction after he wakes up from that is perfect. Because he's supposed to be a very average Joe, like very relatable, regular guy. His reaction after like having this horrific nightmare as he wakes up and just goes, holy shit. And yeah, it's just, that's exactly what the audience would feel in that moment. It's very good. But yeah, there's just a lot of sequences in here that I just don't think are shot all that well.
Like, once again, like I said before, this movie is very down to earth, and I'm wondering if the not so wonderful
okay, I see what you're saying.
Camera shots have to do with that, or part of that.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see. Like, it's meant to feel almost like a. No, okay. For a lot of them, I can agree with you on that, but there's a few that I'm gonna stand by on this one.
Mm-hmm.
When they first get attacked by the wolf out on the moors, we're supposed to get the feeling that they can see or hear something out there. I never get that feeling from the way it's shot. And it's specifically from the way it's shot.
Mm-hmm.
It is way too close to them. We do not see nearly enough of their environment.
Yeah, apparently they're supposed to be like wandering off the road, but it's like, it's so up close in your face. It's like, how do you know they're not just like 10 feet away from the road? Like,
yeah, and also, like, give us a shot of them like looking off in the distance and then like, oh shit. And then like, you see the camera slowly start moving towards them in an ominous way to get the sense of like, okay, they see something out there and it's getting closer, or like the camera is behind them and they stop and like we don't see what it is because it's just pure darkness in front of them, but we get that sense of it. No, the camera just feels like it doesn't know where to go in that angle. It's weird. But also, like, when they walk off the road and go into the moors, it feels like they're just dumbasses who just immediately forgot the lesson. It should be they're so busy talking to each other they don't realize what happened. They should have like had a shot of like them talking as they're like walking up and like they're looking at each other and not paying attention. And
that
then like the
kind
camera
of happened, but like
a little.
the thing is the camera is so zoomed out.
Yeah.
Like if the camera was zoomed in and you focus more on their conversation, you understand how they were able to like get lost.
Or move the camera down and show them accidentally walking off. They're like the road diverges and they keep walking straight without realizing it. Instead, it just feels like they're dumbasses who just walked off the set. Yeah, so that's one, but also there's a moment in which the werewolf is going out there and attacking people at night in London, and we see these 3 homeless guys, and they're just like, "What is that? What is that?" And we never get like. I'm not saying they should have revealed the wolf in it. They wanted to keep the wolf secret at that moment, but there's no like shot of like the direction they're looking. No shot of, like they're in a junkyard when this happens. You could have just shown like something that they're staring at and like a piece of junk falls over there without showing us the wolf to like give us an idea of it. Not just 3 random guys just, what is that over there? What is that? And it's literally just like what I'm doing now. And I was like, no, there's way better ways you could have done that. In fact, I think I even remember hearing that they were supposed to have the wolf in that shot, but they couldn't get like the animatronic to work at that moment. So
yeah,
it feels like that.
Yeah,
it feels like they didn't know what to do because their plan fell apart.
That's the thing with like a lot of practical effects. There's no guarantee that they'll work exactly the way you want.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why Jaws was not.
That's the famous one, yeah.
Yes. And I'm wondering if that's also the reason why they didn't have a lot of the wolf in here.
I think they just want to keep it secret. But yeah, because they had it when they needed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think they just want to keep it a secret most
Maybe
of the
they just blew the budget on the transformation sequence.
They used it at the right spot then. Okay, before we get into like our score and all that stuff, anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I will also say, we mentioned Alex a little bit before. I want to go into a little bit more detail about her because she's another great example of how, like, even if she's not the protagonist or anything, we don't, like, get as much time with her as we get with David or anyone, but we get a sense of who she is, and I think they do a great job with that. Because, like, as soon as David gets out of the hospital, she immediately invites him over to her place, and that feels like it would be weird. Except that, A, it's a movie and they have good relationship with each other. They have a good chemistry with each other, so we as the audience, we're willing to let that go. But also, we see when she's in the hospital, she's intrigued by the fact he's an American. And then when he gets to her place, she's got Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck stuff all over the place. She's got a Humphrey Bogart poster in there, who was a famous American actor. And remember, this isn't like the modern day right now when Mickey Mouse is freaking everywhere and they're shoving it like you can't go anywhere without seeing Mickey Mouse. Back then, Mickey Mouse was still like, he was famous, but like, you know, you had to go and find Mickey Mouse stuff back then. At least if you weren't in America. But Mickey Mouse at that point in time was very much like the symbol of America. It's a great way of just putting in there's like, no, she's kind of got a thing for America. Like
really into American pop culture.
Yeah, exactly. She's got a thing for American boys. But also, like, there's a moment in which, like, she mentions how many guys she's slept with before and how many of them were one-night stands, which, you know, not trying to, like, put any, like, shame on everything, but back in, like, at this point in time, that was more of a taboo thing. So she is just flat out saying, like, yeah, I hook up with a lot of guys. And there is a moment in which they're trying to find David at the hospital. And she mentions she's at his place. And the doctor just has this look of, like, again? Like, he doesn't say that, but, like, you totally get that feeling of, like, damn, girl, you keep doing this. You can't keep inviting strange men that you meet in the hospital back to your place. And like I said, there's that moment in which he's refusing to eat. So she starts, like, feeding him, like, spoon feeding him. And it's like, she's got a thing for taking care of, like, damaged strange boys. Yeah, all right. Like, you get that sense of, like, who she is as a character. It's done incredibly well, I think, honestly. Okay, what would you give this movie?
I'd give it a solid B.
I'd go B+.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go B+. I can't...
Like, maybe a B+, because just for that transformation sequence.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, like I said, even beyond that, jokes are great. Character relationships are great. Personality of everyone in here is great. It's just a very basic film. And like I said, I do watching it this time, I slowly began to realize this is why I could never get that invested in it. I just don't like the way that's shot. Okay, as for spoiler-related stuff in here, there's not a whole lot to say. Normally we have a whole spoiler sequence in here. There's not much to go into.
Like we said before, it's a very cut-and-paste movie.
Yeah, I do like the fact that David refuses to believe. He thinks that he's having a mental breakdown each time he sees Jack. And then he has no memory of turning into a werewolf. The next morning he wakes up and he just feels great. He feels amazing. And then he finds out that like a group of people were all killed by a wolf last night. And he immediately freaks out and he starts going up and trying to like get a cop to arrest him. I love that sequence in there.
Like even before that, like he wakes up in the zoo in a werewolf, and not a werewolf, just a regular wolf den.
Yeah.
So, butt naked.
Butt naked, yeah. Which, bless that actor for being willing to get naked a lot in this movie. And yeah, he's talked about this before, and he was like, yeah, I said I would be willing to do a scene in which I got naked with wolves, but I'm only going to do it once, so you better get this shot right. Which I'm amazed he climbed out of that cage in one take. Good on him. Which then there's a whole hilarious sequence in there of him stealing a kid's balloons. And then he takes this lady's jacket, and I love, everybody talks about how funny the balloon scene is, and it's hilarious, but my favorite moment in here is him standing there butt naked except for this fancy lady's jacket that he's wearing at a bus stop, and some proper British guy is staring him up and down, and he just looks at him and smiles and goes, "Some weather we're having, huh?" Oh, just that little moment gives you so much likability in David. It's so good. But yeah, when he learns that he's become a werewolf, he immediately starts trying to get himself arrested. And I love that the scene after that it's such a great little moment is he tries to call up his family. And the only one who's there is his little sister. And he knows what he must do. He knows that Jack was right. He has to kill himself. And he just has like his final little conversation with his little sister. And he doesn't want to tell her what's going to happen. But you can tell like he's trying to put on the brave face and act normal. But like, nah, he's struggling to get through that. I thought that was a great little moment in there. And yeah, another like great little moment is after this, the ghost of Jack waves him down to a porno theater, which I apparently found this out. Apparently the reason they said that in there is because John Landis wrote this when he was living in London, and he specifically wrote that theater in there, and that theater used to play cartoons, and in his mind, he was going to have this very, like, his final moments sitting there watching cartoons with his friend. But when he returned to London all these years later, it was now a porno theater, but he wanted to still use that theater. So he had them go into a porno theater there then. And to his credit, he didn't like go, well, you guys have to pretend like you're showing cartoons here. Like, you got to take all this down and put up cartoons. Like, he didn't do that. Instead, he filmed a fake porno, and it is the blandest, most boring porno on earth. And I love it. It's so hilarious. It's so funny. Like, the scene in there, this is the spoiler part, we can just tell the jokes that we like in here. The scene in there in which a guy runs in, and he goes, "I told you to never cheat on me ever." And then the other guy in there goes, "I never said that to you." He goes, "Not you, her. I don't know who you are." "Oh, my mistake." And then just leaves, and that's the scene.
That is like such British humor.
It is so goddamn funny. And like, there's another little moment in there. It's not nearly as good as that one, but like, there's another moment in which they're still in there in the porno theater, and it just cuts to this lady. She's just buck naked after having sex, and she's just having a normal phone call. Just making a normal ass phone call. It's like, yeah, the most boring shit imaginable happening in a porno. It's just, that's such a weird, funny joke to put in there, and I think it is hilarious.
Like, I was wondering, like, if they still played cartoons there, would they have, like, the Three Little Pigs
I was wondering that. I was thinking that exact thing.
Because, like, they have the Disney paraphernalia, and, like, the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, that's a Disney cartoon, so, like, all connected and everything. But honestly, I'm kind of glad it's a porno theater, because I feel like it's... Basically, I feel like it's David wanting to, like, hide himself from the world because he knows the horrible shit he's done. It's like, where's the one place I can go where I don't feel as, like, where it's...
Nobody in a porno theater is going to turn to you and go, "Hey, would you stop talking to yourself back there? I'm trying to masturbate here." That's gonna be the joke we open the review with. Demonetize this thing immediately. We're under 1,000 subscribers. We're not monetized at all. I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, on the other channel getting
Yes.
100,000. This channel still, we're brand new.
Yes.
Yeah, this channel, I've said it before, I don't care if this channel like gets monetized or anything. We're just doing this for fun. But yeah, my other channel recently hit 100,000 subscribers. Yay.
Yay.
So, yeah, yeah, also, like, I feel like there'd be something kind of sad about this guy right before he dies watching a children's cartoon. Like, kind of be like, trying to remember back to better times.
Yeah.
This makes it like there's... Watching a purposely hilarious porno, there's no way to feel that bad about that. But he is talking to Jack, and it's a great little moment in there in which everybody is throwing out ways for him to kill himself, and someone I think says, like, strangling. And Jack goes, no, it'd be too painful. And he goes, do you want him to die or not? He's like, he's still my friend. And it's like, I love that. It's such a good little character moment that even after everything that they've gone through, Jack and David are still friends. Like, yeah, you have to kill yourself, but it's not like I'm taking pleasure in this, buddy. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I love that little sequence in there.
You meant, like, I was thinking back, like, to the phone call, and I was wondering if that, like, if that had as much of an effect on the audience if the nightmare sequence didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. No, the nightmare sequence is very important to that. Because we can point this out now, yeah. The thing that I kind of alluded to earlier was these Nazi werewolves pop up and attack his family, which his family is Jewish.
Are they werewolves? They have, like, hats, they have like, masks on, so we couldn't really see them.
I think they're supposed to be kind of werewolves because they have, like, the snout coming out. But yeah, they're demons of some kind. And yeah, his family is Jewish, so it takes on an extra layer of symbolism there. Also because, I don't know if it's like this film that plays homage to that or not, but like, apparently like, I think like one of Hitler's plans, because Hitler was a big fucking idiot, one of his plans involved werewolves. And it's like, there is like a connection between those two symbolisms.
Yeah, like I know during World War II, like the Hitler wanted to like, try and get involved with the occult, the supernatural, like literally doing anything he can, just like get the upper hand.
Yeah, it's when you look up the stuff that he was like trying to do, it's like, God damn, it's weird as shit. Okay, so but yeah, so there's an extra layer of symbolism there, but it's just this brutal out of nowhere killing sequence in which they kill his entire family. Then he wakes up in the hospital. Alex goes, well, here, let me get you some light. She opens up the curtains, and the werewolf comes out, and the like Nazi werewolf comes out again and attacks her and kills her. And then wakes up, and like I pointed this out, and I like vaguely allude to it, but back then, these days we know the idea of the dream within a dream. Like I wake up and oh wait, I'm still in a dream, and oh okay, I wake up again. I don't think that had ever been done before. I've heard people say that's the first time they had ever seen that done. So it makes me wonder if that really was the first time that was done, because if it was, holy cow, that must have been a massive shock, because back then, nobody ever thought of that. They think, okay, they wake up from the nightmare, they're safe now. Back then, that would have been the alternate way to make somebody let their guards down. That's genius.
Have you ever had that happen to you in real life? Like I
think I did once, actually.
Yeah, I remember that happening to me, too.
Yeah, it's weird to think that that's actually the thing that happens, but yeah, it has, yeah. But yeah, so, what were you gonna say? Yeah, you're right. It had that phone call has a huge effect because we can picture his parents, we can picture his little sister, we can picture the house that they're in. Yeah, it was a brilliant idea to put that in there. But then after that, he turned into the werewolf one more time, and he goes on a rampage across the city. And, oh my goodness, that entire sequence in there is so good. That entire sequence is great.
It is insane.
It is, like, it's pure chaos.
Like, he runs into traffic, and, like, all these cars keep crashing into each other. Like, I feel like more people died in the car crash than, like, from getting attacked by werewolf.
I literally had to watch the kill count on the kill count video on this, and go, like, and, like, they say it's like, okay, only 2 people died in that, but a lot more people got injured. So I was like, all right. Yeah, okay, And I think that was in like Piccadilly Circle,
Square?
Whatever one that is. Piccadilly Circus, Piccadilly Square, whatever one that is.
Square, circle, triangle.
Circle. And apparently they do not let people film there that often. So they were like, we get one shot at this. And yeah, man, they nailed it. Way to go. I wonder what their backup plan would have been if they hadn't gotten that. And then that leads up to the big final sequence of Alex confronting David. And there's that moment which you kind of see some humanity restored to him. And then he attacks and he gets shot down. And then he dies there. And it immediately cuts to the credits. This is one of the most jarring cuts to a credit sequence I've ever seen in a film.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was a kid, I had a friend who showed this to me, and he thought the film was hilarious. And it is, but he thought it was hilarious because he thought the musical choices were so funny. And this was the one he kept pointing to. I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And the reason why it's so weird is because he wanted all the songs in this movie to have Moon in the title.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like multiple different versions of like Blue Moon in here. And it goes out like the most upbeat poppy version after the image of our protagonist dead. And it's so weird.
It's so weird, but like at the same time, it kind of like is like a bit of humor after like such a tragic scene.
It fits the movie oddly enough. Like I can't say like that is so in poor taste, and oh no, that takes me completely. I was like,
we can't end this on a sour note. Let's put in some silly music.
It kind of fits. Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm slouching a lot in this video.
I blame the couch. This thing is sinking
the more that we do this. We're gonna have to go back to the old chairs that we used to use for this. Yeah, this puppy is on its last leg. But yeah, anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think that this film, it is a classic, but honestly, I think that a lot of it comes from that special effects. But even besides that, it's a fun film. Like, it is a fun film with amazing characters in there. So yeah, I still highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for day one of Thorgiween. Come back tomorrow. We'll have even more than... I have no clue what it is. Oh, no, wait, I do know what it is. I didn't like tomorrow's movie nearly as much as this one. See you guys then. Bye.
Bye.